1. Meet Dave of Delusions of Grandeur, actor, producer, and director of films like Tales of the Forgotten. He has come to assemble a team of freaks, geeks, and even worse, film nerds, to discuss films ranging from mainstream to downright crazy. There is Tammy, car enthusiast, and Dave's fiance, Dustin, reptile expert and overall horror collector, Jake, environmentalist and fine art film critic, and finally Brandon, a therapist with a love of film that can only be seen as insanity. Together under Dave's leadership, they are inside movies galore. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. To heal.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going on about a film that was brought to our attention by my fiance here, Tammy. So, Tammy, did you want to tell the audience a little bit about the movie that you have chosen or subjected us to this week?
It's the Tingler with Vincent Price, directed by Wlliam Castle,
and written by Rob White. And this is what IMDb says about the film. An obsessed pathologist discovers and captures a parasitic creature that grows when fear grips its host. And yes, it does star Vincent Price, also Judith Evelyn, Daryl Hickman, Patricia Cutts, Pamela Lincoln, Philip Coolidge, Leon Alton, Gertrude Astor, Richard Barthelmess, Gail Bonney, Wlliam Castle himself, Pat Colby, George McNormand, Amy Fields, Bob Gunderson, Dal McKinnon, and among many others.
I forgot, what year is this from?
This is from the year 1959. So, but in any case, did you want to bring us into first impressions?
Sure, I'll actually go first. I don't remember the actual first time I watched it, but I know it was with David because I know I hadn't seen it before. I mean, I like older movies and I like stuff with Vincent Price. It's just I hadn't really explored all of that yet. I was still getting, I was just starting to get into like more and more of the older stuff.
She was a Vincent Price virgin.
I liked some stuff already, but I didn't know about this. And I sure didn't know about Wlliam Castle movies. So, but yeah, I liked it the very first time, and I liked and we'll get into probably a little bit more about Wlliam Castle himself and how he portrays his movies, which makes them, even when you know the background about what he does with these movies, it makes them more fun too,
Well, Wlliam Castle was an entertainer, and he liked a lot of gimmicks that went along with the theater experience. Not only was your theater experience a way to be horrified by it, but he involved the audience in participation with a lot of the gimmicks that he would do.
And
And
that was something that wasn't done before, you know?
correct, he would have uh, shock buzzers that would buzz your seats and vibrate them, like when the lights went out and the Tingler was in the theater. So when the Tingler would arrive, you would feel your seat vibrate. The lights would go out, and you would experience almost as if you were part of the movie, and that's what made Wlliam Castle so entertaining. He also enjoyed doing a lot of introductions and outros, which it made him a little bit more involved with the production itself. So when you see that introduction, you see this guy who could have been in an office somewhere start to talk about, I mean, Alfred Hitchcock did that before every single one of his episodes. So,
Well, yeah, Alfred Hitchcock did an intro, but he didn't do all these other antics during the for the movie, you know.
but in any case, back to you, dear.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was neat. It's become one of my movies that I really enjoy. So, and I don't want to give it anything away, but it doesn't exactly turn out the way you think it's gonna. So, but how about you, Fleet?
Uh, this was the first time I watched this movie, and I found it quite interesting actually, especially for the time when it was made. Some of the effects they used, especially on the creature itself, were really amazing. And the very idea of some horror creature coming not from, I don't know, the where horror creatures usually come from, but apparently forming within the human body. I think that's a quite creative idea, very unique. I don't remember seeing anything like that in other movies before, unless unless maybe it's a creature that came from the outer space and inhabited a human body or something like that. But the concept of it just naturally forming inside the human body and so on, I think that was quite original, especially for the time when it was made. I found that quite impressive, and yeah, it was really interesting, and I'm glad I saw this movie.
Okay, how about you, David?
I'm actually not sure when I actually first saw this movie because I saw a whole slew of Wlliam Castle movies at one point. House on Haunted Hill is the first one that I remember. I swear I caught bits and pieces of this on television, but when I finally got my Wlliam Castle collection on DVD, which I got it when it first came out on DVD. Suddenly, like after a while, the collection itself, with most of his movies on it, um, except for House on Haunted Hill and The Spirit is Willing, um, it was an like an 8 to 10 movie collection, which to me that's a lot of movies to go through. And one of the movies on there was one of the ones that another one that we covered was the original 13 Ghosts.
Ah, true.
So you and I have covered three Wlliam Castle ones, which were on this collection that I got, and Mr. Sardonicus was one of them. A House on Haunted Hill was not on the thing, but we did watch it, and this one. So I'm glad that we were actually able to cover. So technically, Boris, you and I have with the group. Well, you and I covered House on Haunted Hill alone, but we covered.
Yes, that's true.
And we also covered 13 Ghosts, I believe, alone.
Yeah, those were some of. I think we covered those quite a while ago, probably not too long before I uh, joined your group.
Yep. And then Ron, me, you, and Tammy, we all covered Mr. Sardonicus.
Yes, true.
So this is actually one of my favorites of Wlliam Castle. So I'm glad that Tammy, you brought this to the group. I do think it's interesting that that you can actually have a creature that stems from fear, and it worked with shadows, and you know, I think it had enough of a story line where you could follow it, and it didn't really have to do a lot, but it was definitely had that chilling vibe to it. Um, it had an air of mystery, and I think it was very creative at the time. People had to have an imagination, and in order to have this imagination, you had to, believe in the impossible. And okay, yeah, after seeing the movie a couple of times, you might be able to see the string pulling the creature across the floor to Vincent Price's body. But, you know, when you first see it, you're not looking for that. And I think that's kind of the magic of it all,
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
I
But
didn't notice it the first time I watched it either, but now that I've kind of become a little bit of a veteran with some of these old movies, I I see those things. But you know what? It to me it just makes me enjoy the movie more because it's like they didn't at that time they didn't have the CGI and all the stuff we have now. So this is how they had to make bats fly and creatures move and things like that. So
Yes.
so it makes me actually enjoy it more because somebody had to use their imagination as to how to make these things happen, you know?
Mm,
well, and
yes.
I think black and
Nowadays it.
I think black and white movies tended to hide some of that movie magic, which gave it more of a realistic feeling at times.
I just think a lot of times with these older movies, it's neat to see what you, d- when you do actually look forward to see what they did to make things happen. Or nowadays, some of them come with behind the scenes so you can actually see what they went through to make these things happen and stuff. And I think that's really neat because people, like I said, they had to use their imagination, they had to use their brains, they had to come up with how do I make this happen?
Pretty much. Nowadays it would probably be a lot easier.
I mean, I'm not saying that people nowadays don't use their brains or imagination on these movies that have like, now, because the CGI and all that, you still have to have an imagination and all that stuff. But I think, how do I put it? I think they had to use more of themselves and everything before there was the computers and the CGI and everything else. They had to work. They kind of like had to work for it to make it happen more.
Yes,
It's
most
so.
definitely.
I think that's why I kind of enjoy some of the older ones more because I know that they really they had to sit there and go, well, how do I make this look realistic when this is what I got to work with?
Uh, I can imagine. Kind of.
And the funny thing is, after watching this movie, and I've seen it more than once, doesn't it actually make you wonder? Do you have such a thing?
A little bit.
I realize it's a movie and everything, but still, especially after I watched it the first time, it's like, could that really exist?
Well, probably not, but it can be amusing to think about what if scenarios like this.
Well, yeah, you never know. Are you a doctor? Do you know what's in your body?
Not really.
I mean, do you know what's in your body when you get frightened? I mean,
And according to David, when I had this tumor removed, which was something that, according to the doctors, was a little bit of a rarity, he called it my alien. So hey,
Ouch.
yeah, it was a tumor on my adrenal glands, and it's like, and it created all kinds of havoc. So it's like,
Well,
how do you know
oh,
that? How do you know you don't actually have something? If I can get
uh,
that.
yeah,
well,
I
all
kind of,
movie jokes, all movie jokes aside, Tammy, I'm really sorry to hear you had to go through something like that. Okay, I did hear about it before. I just didn't know how serious it was. I'm really sorry you had to go through that.
Oh, thanks. It wasn't all that bad. I mean, it was more annoying than anything, actually, because they said when it was 4 centimeter up, when it got to about 4 centimeters, it got annoying. And but mine was 7 when they figured it out.
Oh,
So you'd be just sitting there minding your own business, and all of a sudden you'd be like soaking wet from sweat because it made your adrenaline kick in.
whew.
Yep, that's what it would do. And it was messing with my heart, and it was messing with a lot of other things till they found out about it. So, but they said it wasn't a tumor that they saw like every day. They knew about it and they knew it happened. It just, you know, it wasn't like you hear people get a brain tumor or they get this or they get that. This wasn't one that you heard about every day. They even had to have a special team to take it out because it could activate while they were in there.
Oh, why?
Yeah. So in a way, maybe I had my own kind of a tingler because the thing could activate. I'm alive.
Well, honestly, respect to you for being able to joke about something like that after you
well, yeah,
experienced it,
I called it an
because
alien because there's a moment in Spaceballs where they made an alien joke, and the alien that came out of John Hurt in Spaceballs went and shot behind stage and came out with a cane and started singing, "Hello, my baby. Hello, my sunshine. Hello, my sweetie pie."
oh yeah, yes,
So
now
when
that
the alien came out, I was like, "Yep, that's your alien."
Yeah,
now that you mentioned it,
even the doctors kind of stuck with it for a little while, at least, till I got a different doctor because it just was fun.
Wow.
It had an alien, and David's. Besides what he just said, he also said he came up with it because it wasn't supposed to be there, so it was an alien. You know.
Well, I am most certainly glad that you survived that alien.
Yes, but I suppose we should get back to the Tingler. So,
Probably.
Yep, I enjoyed watching it and have enjoyed rewatching it over and over because it is that good of a movie to me. I do think that this is one of Wlliam Castle's better films and one of Vincent Price's better roles. So, um,
I really enjoy it too. Otherwise, I wouldn't. If I because the partially because of the Tingler is why I ended up getting the Wlliam Castle set too.
and do you recognize Ollie?
Who?
We just recently watched a movie that that actor was in. Except that that movie was 20 years earlier.
Who? Wait, wait.
Or
Which
or
one?
at least maybe 12 years earlier.
Oh, wait. He was in Boomerang.
Ollie was in Boomerang.
Oh, interesting. I didn't recognize him. Who did he play there?
He played the guy that kept showing up to the court thing and then eventually crashed in the end, and the one that confessed.
Oh yeah. Now yeah, he does look a little bit different, but yeah, I get it.
Wow, interesting.
Okay, well, you got Wlliam Castle. He does the autopsies at the jail when people get executed. Plus, he is also does his own um well, I don't want to say experiments, but he's got his own ideas and his own philosophies that he's studying, and he has an understudy that helps him with everything. And right now, his biggest thing is he's trying to figure out what happens when people get scared. And it starts out with your a gentleman being executed, and you see him doing the autopsy, and another gentleman comes in and says, "Well, he's the brother-in-law of the gentleman that got executed." So he's asking Vincent Price's character. I always forget. I always remember one name or the other, either the character or the player. But
The
uh,
character was named Warren, if I remember correctly.
okay, and Warren, and so he's asking him 20 questions, and then as he's doing the autopsy, he's like, "Wow, I don't understand this. All his vertebrae are broke, you know." And he says, and Ollie's like, "Well, that is that normal for an execution?" He goes, "Well, no, that's not normal, you know." And the two of them start talking, and Warren he's baffled, you know, because he's like, this isn't normal. So he starts thinking that the fear of getting executed is what caused this prisoner's vertebrae to all break at the point of execution. And so then he gives Ollie a ride home, and he's telling Ollie about his theories and what he's been trying to figure out about what happens when somebody gets scared. You know, what does their body go through? What do and Ollie's Well, can people get scared to death? And he's like, well, yes. If his whole thing is, if you don't have a way to express your fear, what happens? So he gets more into this when he meets Ali's wife, who is a she's well, they what they say, deaf mute. And
But she also seems to be a very cleanly person. So she's very a germaphobe, kind of.
right.
Uh,
And
Actually, I think germophobia is the fear of bacteria. This person was afraid of blood and things like
Well,
that. That
she had to wash her hands after everything, and she didn't.
ah
She couldn't even shake uh, the doctor's hand.
right.
oh yeah, yeah, true. I forgot that detail. So maybe it is germophobia. Yeah.
Yeah, because Ali even said she's afraid of bacteria, and you
Ah
can get bacteria by just touching somebody's hand, and then Dr. Warren agreed to that. But his theory got more enlightened when he cut himself at the house, and she saw the blood, and because she's a deaf mute, she couldn't scream. She couldn't let out her fear, she couldn't vocalize it. And she passed out, only he describes it as not a, a real pass out. As he explained it as, it was her, that was her only outlet, because she couldn't vocalize, you know her fear of seeing the blood, you know
yes.
so then when Dr. Warren gets back home, it's his understudy. He's explaining this all to him, while his, I think, is it his sister-in-law, right?
Yes, I think, yeah, his wife's sister, yes.
Yep. She's patiently waiting to go on the date that and he's making her wait even longer to go out on the date while he's explaining his theory. So what do you think so far? You kind of get the gist of what, he's got this really neat idea in his head, that he's trying to prove.
Oh, yes, the concept was definitely interesting, although he was using some very morally questionable methods during his experiments.
Well, yeah, he's going to get into some more questionable ways of testing this.
Definitely.
Yes, because what he told his understudy is that he wanted to be able, because he's been taking X-rays and this and that but he wants to be able to capture right when somebody gets scared, what happens, and that's what he's been not been able to do, is to be able to see what goes on when somebody is scared, you know.
Yeah.
So he figures out a way to do that with his philandering wife by scaring her with a. She thinks that he shot her, so she gets scared and passes out, and then that gives him the opportunity to actually get some images, you know, of what's going on, which he was able to then show to his understudy and everything.
Yeah, so from what I understood, she passed out from the shock, right?
Right, because she thought she heard the gun go off, so she thought he really shot her,
Yeah. Well, truth be told, in real life, that would probably cause a longer lasting trauma.
Well, not like she didn't deserve it, but
Okay, that's true.
she
Yeah,
did seem like a very nice person.
yeah, she really was horrible to her sister, the way
Well,
she
yeah,
was treating her.
it seemed like uh, the doctor and her did not have a very good relationship, so she didn't want her sister to go through the same. And I thought it was interesting that I guess the one guy's name was Dave, and then also the movie that was going on in the theater also had the name Dave in the
Yeah, and then
in the
we
title.
have yet.
Yeah, Dave
Uh,
is the understudy. That's right. That's his name. And
uh,
the
yeah, and
wifey.
what was the sister's name? I forgot.
Well, hmm, all I know is she didn't want her sister to marry Dave, and it's just like like he wasn't
Mm,
good and like he wasn't gonna be good enough, and it's like really.
yeah, like there was nothing wrong with Dave from what I saw. The sister. Oh, the sister was named Lucy. Yeah.
Okay. And what was Warren's wife?
Isabel.
Isabel. That's it. So yes, we're not done with Isabel yet, but
Yeah, and Isabel, well, she's been having a slight affairs with other men and whatnot. So there's definitely tension between the two.
yeah.
Yeah, and wasn't there something similar going on in House on Haunted Hill?
Oh yeah, but we didn't know that until like three quarters of the way into the movie.
Yeah.
So yes, Dr. Warren goes back over by Ollie's place to check on his wife to see how she's doing after she had the shock of seeing his blood. But we don't realize until later that Ollie really takes advantage of the doc coming over. Because
Yeah, that was quite a bit of a twist.
yeah, because he gives her a shot to help her rest, and then um Ollie takes advantage of that because she wakes up and he's basically booby trapped the whole place. So
Yeah, uh, Ali, because of working in the theater, you you got to think that maybe he actually might know a little bit more about uh, acting, which means he has basically, yeah, he's booby trapped it, but he's booby trapped it in a way that makes it seem like it's like kind of a haunting, you know. So while his wife is supposed to be asleep, he scares the bejesus out of her. And I can't see how he did some of these things. Like
Yeah.
the door
While
the
it
door
was
closing.
while it was happening, I thought it was some hallucination or something.
I mean, when the blood came out of or the paint or whatever came out of the thing, the blood filled the tub, and the hand came out of the so-called blood. I mean, these were some fantastical things
Oh,
that he was scaring her with.
yes. Well, I must say that was one of the more interesting filming effects they did in this movie. Like the whole movie is in black and white, and all of a sudden there is this one detail in color. I was like, "Wow!" I really didn't expect that.
Well, I didn't expect that Ollie would sit here and booby trap that whole place like that. When she
Yeah, of course. I was really surprised when that was revealed. But now I was more talking about the filming effects, the whole movie is in black and white, and when a movie is black and white, you don't expect anything to be in color, like not the tiniest thing. And then all of a sudden there was this details with blood. They were red. I read about it on Wikipedia. They actually shot it in color, but used the makeup and other things to make everything else around the red details appear black and white.
well,
Okay, maybe.
the thing is too, you don't really even realize that Ollie's the one behind it at first, because
Oh,
at first, the first time I watched it, I thought she was just having hallucinations or whatever from, or because he had given her that shot, you know, and that
uh,
she woke up, and because he said that she would sleep for a couple hours. So at first, I was thinking she just was dreaming or having hallucinations. I didn't really realize Ollie was behind it at first, you know.
definitely. I didn't expect that at all. Uh,
What about you,
uh,
Dave? Oh, we lost Dave. Um, so yeah. So where are we?
Are we right after the Ali incident? Um,
Yeah,
where
I would think we're right about um
where
um
Vincent Price is called, and I guess he he basically takes the body of Ali's wife back to his lab, and while that is oh wait,
well, we forgot to mention is when Warren does his own little experiment too with
correct
that drug.
correct
oh, indeed.
he does that while he thinks that Ali is um whatever. Uh, uh, he does that to experience fear himself and see what happens that way. And Dave and his girl um, are watching, and his Lucy wants to help him, and he's like he's got to come off the drug naturally. But then they realize that the drug is spiraling him out of control, So they end up breaking into the room and helping him because
Yeah,
he's
didn't he almost jump out through the window?
yeah, but he slumped over like his doctor table, I guess. So, but I know he got scared himself. He scared himself. So that's quite a feat on his own. You know,
Yes.
it's quite one thing to scare someone else, but to scare your own self, that's a different story too. So, of course, if you're always scared of everything and paranoid about everything, it won't take you long to get scared. Put a spider right near Tammy, and she'll get scared.
Ha
I mean, did you ever find that albino spider that you were talking about last night?
Yep. And he found out what Lysol disinfectant spray was.
Wow.
Well, she doesn't like them like spiders showing up so much that she kills them right away. She is the spider exterminator.
If I have no choice, I kill it. If there's somebody or something else around that can do it for me, I have them do it. Like in
Meanwhile,
that.
all spiders are going extinct because of Tammy.
Ouch.
Right, Tammy?
Well, he sure ain't going extinct because of the cats we've had in this house lately.
Oh, that's because they weren't trained in that way. They were trained to play and have toys and things of that nature. Do you think they were trained to hunt and kill bugs? No.
Well, my cat does that whenever she is outside, and it's not like anyone had to train her to do that.
Oh, some cats have it and some don't.
My first cat, Sammy, she got rid. I think the word spread that don't go to that house with all the bugs and all the spiders because she took care of all bugs and all spiders. So I didn't even have flies in my house. I never had anything when Sammy was around. I think the word got out. And then came Sassy. And Sassy thought everybody and everything was her friend. Sassy
Aww.
didn't kill a damn thing. And these two, well, I
Hey,
haven't seen
kid.
them kill anything yet.
Yeah, all he does is sniff everything.
Oh, they let you know it's there and they follow it around.
What would Sassy have done if she had met the Tingler?
If she'd met the Tingler, she probably would
Yeah.
Sassy would have tried to probably be friends with it.
Aww.
have. Yeah, while it was strangling her to death.
Ouch.
What do you think that cat would have done?
Uh,
Because he was going to test the cat, but then his wife was a better subject.
ouch. Well, in real life, I think the cat would have screamed. Cats are pretty good screamers.
It would have been interesting, not that I want anything to happen to the cat. It would have been
Of
interesting though to
course.
see what his experiment would have entailed because Dave said he went through a lot of trouble to catch that cat. So it would have been interesting just to see because he went through so much trouble to get him, you know.
Okay,
Definitely.
so the character of the doctor is called to Ollie's place because Ollie thinks that his wife has died, or at least that's
Well,
the story that he gives to the doctor. But he brings her back to the lab, and while they are talking, um, her body rises underneath the sheet, and, and then lowers back down, and he's like, she's alive, and he's like, no, she is definitely not. But do I have permission to figure out why she did move? And so he takes and uh, puts some partition in front of the bed, and we see his shadow move towards her body, and he lifts up the Tingler, and we see the shadow of the Tingler, which I think this is great lighting here, so that you can see what he's taking out, and the thing looks monstrous, huge, that he's taken out, but when he takes and brings it out, it's not as big as you think it is, but it's definitely big.
It looks like a
pretty
really
much.
ugly caterpillar.
Yeah, it looks like a really ugly caterpillar, but and it's not quite a tremor though. But I don't know. In any case, we do we do have the thing out. He wants to put it in a glass case, but it starts to grapple his arm. And so Ollie drops the glass case. One of them screams. I think it's the doc, and his wife bursts into the room. They get the creature off. I guess the creature kind of just drops to the floor. And they pick it up and put it in a case. And the wife, well,
Isabel.
Ollie ends up taking his wife back home, and he promises that he'll call the cops and that he'll take care of bringing her to the funeral parlor in the morning.
But meanwhile, Isabel has witnessed this, and she's asking all kinds of questions about the Tingler, and was it scary? Did it really hurt? This and that. Where does it come from? And so she's giving him the 20 questions on it because um, she's starting to come up with
a plan to kill him.
Yes.
Finally put her husband out of his misery.
Yes.
So that what she ends up doing is that drug that she takes that little bottle, that little vial he had, and she wants to celebrate with him about what he's figured out, and she makes him a drink, and Dr. Warren thinks he's the smart one and asks for the other cup when she was actually smarter than him. So she does end up
something,
drugging
I
him.
can always count on you to do the right thing.
Right. So she ends up drugging him and then goes to let the Tingler loose. But Lucy and Dave end up coming to his rescue.
Yep. And it's a little bit after that Dave figures out that Ollie never called nobody, not even the cops.
Oh, true.
That's when
That's when Dr. Warren goes over there because he's starting to figure out what Ollie is up to. So
Yeah, and even before that happened, the very first time we saw a mask of the creature that scared Ollie's wife to death, which we earlier thought was just a hallucination, but when we saw there was actually a mask, I was like, what?
yep.
Yes, I was really surprised when it turned out that there was actually a killer and that Ollie was the one who had done it. I really hadn't imagined it would go that way.
Yeah, Vincent, Dr. Warren said something to the effect of murder. If if anytime murder is on purpose, it's wrong, or something to that effect. Because he was like, "Well, I
Uh,
didn't shoot her, and I didn't stab her, and I didn't strangle her." And he said, "But any type of murder on purpose is wrong."
every no matter what method you use to kill someone, if you did it deliberately, then it's murder. I think maybe not in those exact words, but I think he said something like that.
Yeah, maybe how you worded it was probably, but same idea. So, but yes, because he was telling Dr. Warren about how his woe was about you didn't understand what it was like to live with her and and this and that and you know
That she tried to
Yeah,
kill him several times.
or at least he said so. I'm not really sure that was true.
I could understand where it would be maybe kind of hard to live with a deaf mute.
Maybe, yeah, but that doesn't really justify trying to kill that person.
Well, no, I mean did she, if he knew that that's what she was when they got married, then he should have married her.
Definitely.
Yep.
But anyways, yes. While he is um over by Ali and everything, because he's told Ali he has to try and put the Tingler back in her in order to destroy it, because he told Dave that they're not gonna go to the medical science board with this or whatever, because it's just something that you know he doesn't he he doesn't feel like anybody should know about or whatever. I guess I forgot how he put it, but he did not want to expose it at this national convention. So he
No.
decided he was going to put it back as a way to hopefully kill it, because he had tried other things and it couldn't kill it. So he figured if it went back in its host, that it would die. But while this is being discussed and about doing this, it gets loose and it goes into the movie theater down below.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it does.
And they don't want to alarm the theater goers or cause a panic. So they're just trying to look for it without doing that, which actually doesn't go so well.
Yeah, actually, on the contrary, they should have alerted everyone, caused panic, because then everyone would have screamed, and that would have made the Tingler unable to cause much harm.
True that.
So, yep, the thing is running around in the theater, and people are getting upset, and he's trying to calm everybody down, and it even ends up in the projection room and gets the projectionist, so that it ends up going across the screen. So it's, and the whole time that this is going on is um the people that are actually watching this movie are watching this movie in the theater are experiencing with some of Wlliam Castle's actual antics while this part's going on. Because
Yes.
he's making seats vibrate and buzz, and and things like that. The real theater goers are watching this. So
Yeah, I imagine that would add quite a bit to the experience of watching the movie.
And I can even imagine him putting like heaters on at the exact same time, as if you're feeling hot breath on the back of your neck, or something to that effect, to make it more intense. You know,
Yeah.
but which kind of reminds me of a sort of a ride that Disney used to have, which I think the first time they actually had that, they actually scared scared someone, and I think someone got hurt the first time they had it.
Oh, why? Maybe
But
I heard of it, but I forgot.
basically, you walked into a line, and they said that they had this new transport that once you get seated, we're gonna have the first contact with this alien race, and we're going to transport him down to Earth, and you're going to watch it. Well, something goes wrong, and while you're seated, the glass breaks, the lights flicker, the seats start to shake. You feel water on the back of your neck, along with heat, and they really make it seem like like whatever got down to you actually was transformed into this beast of a creature, and it was in the room with you. I imagine that Wlliam Castle would have applauded at this entertainment fiasco, but I think it didn't go well the first time around, and they had to redo it. And but I as a kid was able to go through this thing and experience it a little bit. So it was.
yeah, didn't we watch something on that too? And
Yes, we did, because I found a video that they did to show you what actually happened. And I got interested in watching Disney attractions and showing her a few of the ones that I had experienced as a kid or had wanted to experience. And among one of those was the original Pirates of the Caribbean ride. and since she likes the pirate movies a lot. But in any case, that being said, I believe we have reached the end of the movie, have we not? Basically.
Well, almost. I think we didn't discuss what happened with Ollie at the end.
Yeah, something does happen to Ollie. His own fears. If I remember correctly.
yes, Ollie gets scared.
Ollie gets scared, and his wife appears to haunt his ass. And as far as we know, we just see him go nutso in a corner.
Yeah.
So whether or not we see the police arrive or anything like that, I don't know. But it's definitely entertaining, that's for sure.
Yes, and then Wlliam Castle comes back on, and that's when he makes you wonder if there really is such a thing.
Well, yeah. And he's like, if you were really curious about whether there really is a Tingler, why don't you not scream when you actually get so frightened yourself and see what happens?
Yeah.
But in any
If
case, we are now at the production stage, I believe. Tammy, what did you think about production?
I thought it was excellent because it took it took imagination. Yes, where I think all three of us are pretty much veterans when it comes to movies and stuff and things to look for by now. But at the time, people weren't looking for anything or whatever, and they didn't realize that there was this string moving this creature around. Okay. And yeah, if you really look for it, you can see it. But, it still took an imagination to move this thing around and make it look real. They've got it moving across the floor. They got the thing crawling up him. They got it choking him. They got, it's
They had it choking the projectionist.
yeah, it. I think it's the production was great because this was, I think a lot of this stuff was all a new concept of how to make this happen. And and the different places that they were, the background for the house and the office and the
Theater.
movie theater and all that. I think that was all good. The wardrobe I thought was great too. So yeah, I think they did really good on production.
Okay, what about you, Boris? What did you think about production overall?
I also think it was very good, especially for the time when it was made. The creature, yeah, it definitely looked amazing. I couldn't see those strings, but yeah, okay, I wasn't looking for them the first time I watched the movie. But yeah, at least when you don't, at least when you aren't looking for things like that, you don't really see them in this movie, or at least I didn't see. And like I said before, the parts, the parts with the red effects, like when Ollie's wife was seeing blood, and there were those red details on screen surrounded by everything else being black and white. That was also something I found quite creative about this movie. Actually, I didn't even know they could film things in color back then. So, but okay, it's not like I really have much knowledge on those things. But yeah, when the whole movie is in black and white, you don't expect suddenly there being a detail in color. So that was also really interesting. And even though this is something that we couldn't really experience just watching the movie at home, I think what we have also mentioned, what Wlliam Castle was doing in theaters when the movie was being played, all those things he was making the audience experience that was also quite creative, especially for that time. So yeah, I imagine that that probably made the movie an even more interesting experience for people who watched it in theaters at that time. So yeah, I would say the production really was very good.
Okay, what about you, David?
Well, I know that really like the production overall. Um, Especially the first time that I watched this, I I had such an imagination, so I could actually see this as being like a creature feature, where you got to extend your imagination to a point where there are possibilities. Okay, um, that there could be a monster inside of everyone. It's kind of like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type thing because in a way, I kind of compare this with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde because Mr. Hyde was supposedly the beast inside of your darkness, and, and to me, is so in kind of a actuality, couldn't the Tingler actually be like a version of Mr. Hyde in a sense? So um, I see that kind of thing in the story a little bit. Um, just because, even though it was something that originally in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was brought out by a chemical, ultimately at the end of the story, the beast in him, Mr. Hyde, started coming forward through him without the chemical. So, in a sense, I kind of see similarities in these two, just a little bit. Except this one's more monster, more creature than anything else, and it's at least the creature has an originality in its look. It kind of looks like it comes from your spine. You know, and the effects were practical, which is freaking great. The um, even the the mask and the arm that Ali used actually were a little bit creepy, which I thought was awesome for the time. And yeah, I thought the different locations, like the lab, looked like a lab. Um, in the in his house looked like a house. I mean, although you only saw like the living room and the front foyer, and maybe and the stairs that led up to the bedrooms and whatnot. Those are the areas that you saw the house. um, but the way Ali's house was, and the theater and everything, it all looked real enough. So I feel I feel like you have a film that's kind of
a masterpiece of fear. So, uh, that being said, um, Tammy, we went, we heard from you, right? So we, that's right. I asked you first. So, okay. So, I guess we can talk a little bit about the music. If I can bring up the page again. Let's see, the Tingler. Okay, IMDb, and then go to all cast and crew. All right, go down, down, down. Okay, producer, composer was Von Dexter, which, let's see, Escape Room Tournament. Oh, he did. He was in the music department on House on Haunted Hill. I guess various films have used some of his music in their soundtrack, like Escape Room Tournament of something, or rather, they use something called Restless of his. Trick or Treat, they use something in their soundtrack called Cues. Let's see. But okay, so he was the composer behind 13 Ghosts and Mr. Sardonicus. And I guess he was a composer on the Rheingold Theater and something called Dangerous Assignment.
Ooh,
But other
that's
than that,
pretty cool.
well, it looks like a music piece that he wrote called Restless is also in the soundtrack of The Black Phone as well, which was a recent movie. Um, but in any case, so let's go into favorite scenes and our favorite characters. Uh, Boris, favorite scene and our favorite character.
Whew. Favorite character is kind of difficult to choose when almost everyone except for the side characters was an asshole in their own way. But yeah, I guess I would have to go with Vincent Price's character because at least even though he did do some morally questionable things throughout the movie, at the end he kind of redeemed himself when he decided to do what he could to destroy that creature and make sure no more damage is done. Uh, and my favorite scene, well, probably the part with the Tingler being in the movie theater. That was kind of funny. And of course, when Ollie got his comeuppance, since he actually turned out to be the main villain, that was also pretty good when he finally got what he deserved at the end.
Okay. What about you, Tammy?
I'd have to say that uh, Vincent Price's character, Dr. Warren, is my favorite character. Um, my favorite scene. Mm, um, I guess I'd have to say, you know, Not that I wanted to see anything happen to Dr. Warren, but when Isabel lets the Tingler loose and it goes after Dr. Warren, it's, because of it moving across the floor and then going up on the couch and then going on, the, it's just the whole, and then coming up and strangling him. It was just, that whole scene was kind of neat, and of course, you got to say that just actually just about any movie is the ending scenes are the great part, but
Well, yeah.
so, but yeah. So how about you, Dave? Dave,
Dave, hello.
I think the Tingler got him.
You beat me to it. Maybe you should scream.
Oh, well, I uh, I would have to go with the Tingler as my favorite character. Uh,
Nice one.
because it is a unique creature, and it's not his fault that it got loose from you know someone uh, who didn't have a good backbone. But in any case, my favorite scenes are are, are actually the scenes where Ollie actually scares his wife, and and I also like the scene where Dr. Warren actually scares his wife because she kind of deserves it a little bit.
Well,
So
maybe Warren's wife did kind of deserve it, but Ollie's wife didn't, as far as we saw.
well, no, she didn't deserve it, but we also don't know the full story of Ali. He claims that she tried to kill him a couple of times with her antics.
He said so, but we don't really know if that's true. I mean, he wasn't really an honest person as far as we saw.
I actually think he was quite honest, but uh, he just wasn't quite so honest about what he was going to do to his wife. Why he was hanging around Dr. Warren to begin with. I feel like he was trying to learn a way to kill his wife, which is why he was kind of hanging around. But um, I get a kick out of the fact that he scared himself in the end, which is why he got his comeuppance. So,
Yes.
but I do think that when he scared her and that tub filled up with blood and how he scared her with all those things coming at her with a knife and a mask, shutting the window, closing the door, shutting off the lights. That whole scene I thought was great. Even though I know she didn't deserve it, it was still a great setup. So
Well, it
just enough
definitely was very
to
well
scare the
done in
shit out of
terms of production.
just enough to scare the shit out of her. And unfortunately, it scared her to death. But
Unfortunately, yeah.
we also don't know how their relationship was beforehand. So I do kind of wish that we would have gotten a pre-scene of how she had actually tried to kill him or whatnot. But Who knows? Maybe
Yeah, more
could
backstory
actually
would
read the
have.
Tingler.
Yeah, but I'm kind of not sure that she really tried to kill him. I don't know. It didn't really seem like it didn't really seem in character for her.
Do you, Tammy, think that his wife tried to kill him several times, like you said?
I don't think so. She just seemed too meek, you know,
Yeah,
and she's afraid of the sight of blood. So
yeah.
how was she gonna kill him? You know, and I don't think she would really have been strong enough to like strangle him. You know, so that doesn't leave
Uh,
that many options left. You know, unless she was gonna poison him.
yeah, but I mean, she seemed easily frightened to do something like that. And why would she even want to kill him?
I think she'd be too afraid of being on her own, being by
That
herself to get rid of him.
that
I
too.
think so too, but but you know, can you really uh, can you really believe Ali with what he said about his wife? You know?
I don't believe Ollie. No, I think Ollie is the one that just wanted out.
Oh, so you think that he just wanted out and he was going to blame whatever he could on his wife?
Right.
I also got that impression.
Okay, so Ali is just the evil one.
I think.
Okay, well, in any case, uh, that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully you enjoyed our discussion on the Tingler. Like, share, subscribe, and I hope that you do watch this movie, even if you don't like black and white movies. It's still pretty good. So, in any
I
case,
agree.
if you get a chance to watch the movie, please do let us know down in the comments what you thought of our discussion, what you thought of the movie, and I guess we'll see you next time. And I think I think my choice will be 12 Angry Men. So, um, next time, which will be next Sunday, we will be watching the movie 12 Angry Men. Uh, so that so that we can check that out. In any case, if you have not seen 12 Angry Men, please do and join us. We would love an audience. So, in any case, everyone say good night.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.